So over the past few weeks, we've made a lot of connections to power with Easter eggs and with certain situations, and there's going to be so many more dots that we can connect and storylines to tell us why we saw Kanan making certain chess moves like we're going to run through in this video. In this video, we're going to look at the move that Kanan made in Season 3, disguising himself as Slim, using Law 22 of the 48 Laws of Power, transforming a weakness into power, and how we could see Raquel playing a very similar chess move in Raising Kanan, but just with Scrappy instead, and how this could be the key chess move in the war against Unique. I'm also going to be talking about Unique's son Jerome as well as Breeze, with how we saw Kanan returning as Slim, disguising himself as another character. Could we see Scrappy return, being this infamous Breeze instead? I don't think he is. I don't think Breeze is Symphony or Marvin either, but I'm going to give my explanation as to why as I run through this video, so stick with this video till the end. But of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But let's rewind it back to Power first, and go through how and why we saw Kanan return, disguising himself as Slim, and almost playing the perfect chess game to finally getting his revenge against Ghost. Now at the end of Season 2, he had this huge fight with Ghost, where he was stabbed and burned alive, so Ghost thought anyway, but in the words of Tommy himself, Kanan was a tough bastard. He managed to break out and wound up at his cousin's place, who we were then introduced to as Jukebox. Now Kanan was severely injured and severely burned, and definitely needed time to recover. Refusing to go to hospital, Jukebox was the one to go get his medicine, and then we saw her cruelly deprive him of them until he told her the truth about what had happened to him. But we're gonna fast forward to Season 3, Episode 8, where we saw him approach Tariq using the disguise of Slim, and at this point Ghost thought he was dead, Tommy thought he was dead, and Tasha thought he was dead. But meanwhile, Kanan was plotting his revenge with the use of Tariq. He showed Tariq the old neighborhood, telling him how he used to roll with his father Ghost when they were younger, telling him the story about how Ghost killed Breeze in this apartment while he watched Jeopardy. His plan was to actually kill Tariq until he took a liking to him because of his hatred for his father Ghost. Kanan's plan was to use Tariq and get to his father, but Jukebox had other plans. She wanted to extort them and kill them both. And now we're gonna fast forward to Season 4. Ghost thought that he saw a ghost when Kanan appeared right before him and told him that he had Tariq. We saw Jukebox forcing Kanan to tell Tariq how much of a no-good motherfucker he was, and his real name was Kanan and Slim was just made up, with Kanan eventually killing Jukebox. Now it was certainly a mistake in keeping Kanan alive, and Ghost even acknowledged this in this conversation with Tasha. He had 2 opportunities to kill him over 10 years ago and at the end of Season 2. But coming back to 1991 and the timeline of Raising Kanan and what we saw happen with Scrappy, a theory I touched on in my review and recap video was how we could see something similar play out with Scrappy. We saw Raquel plant Scrappy into Unique's organization at the end of Episode 5, so he could be her eyes and ears within his organization, but that backfired very quickly, and a lot of people had questions whether Scrappy was alive or dead, but he was definitely alive because he's got a key role to play for Raquel. Now just like Ghost thought he killed Kanan, Unique may well have thought he killed Scrappy, ripping out his left eye socket and destroying one of his kidneys while he was thrown on the front of Raquel's house. But as with Kanan, so is Scrappy a tough bastard, because he seems like he's gonna pull through, and it was definitely a mistake from Unique's side not finishing the job on Scrappy, because I can very well see Raquel now using this to her advantage if Unique does think that Scrappy is dead, and this is what Raquel's key chess move could be. But at this moment in time, Scrappy is very badly injured and there's no way he's recovering over the next few episodes, but he's listed for the very last episode of the season for Raising Kanan, and this is why I think he could be key to saving the Thomas organization, because right now Unique is winning, and he's not only just winning, he's going on the offense in Episode 8 as we saw in the episode trailer for next week. He's trying to finish off Raquel while she's weak. He hit her stash house, he took away her connect, almost killed one of her most trusted soldiers in Scrappy, and tried to turn Lulu over to his side, telling him that his organization could do with someone like him, and he's happy with him, carrying on with his music business on the side. And Unique further ignited this war after the beatdown on Scrappy, with Raquel having no choice but to try and get revenge on the attack on Scrappy, sending Lulu to kill Warrell. But Unique seems like he has all the right responses to Raquel, realizing that she's in a weak position. He's gonna attack and try and finish the job on the Thomases, taking out Raquel and whoever's standing beside her, and he is definitely gonna cause some damage to the Thomas family. He said to Lulu in Episode 7 that he was gonna say sorry now for what was gonna happen later, but as I said before, you can win the battle but not win the war, because it's gonna make Raquel retaliate, and certainly Marvin's gonna retaliate. I do think over the last few episodes, we are really going to see Marvin come alive, and it's going to be thanks to Unique's attack next week. So Marvin's going to cause some damage to Unique as well. No doubt he's going to drop a few bodies, but they're still going to be up against it, and this is why Scrappy's return in Episode 10 could be seriously crucial, and could be the chess move that Unique doesn't see coming if he does think that he killed Scrappy. And Scrappy will definitely want revenge on Warrell after what he did to him, and the first instinct would be to act with some sort of aggression, but at this moment he can't, because he's way too injured, just like Kanan was in Power. And sometimes you do have to fall back, just wait for the right opportunity, circle around your enemy, and then strike at the perfect moment. And this is what we could see from Scrappy, and why he's returning at the end of Raising Kanan. Similarly to how Kanan recovered and kept his position of him being alive a secret, apart from people who needed to know, he was able to attack Ghost using his son. And speaking of sons, let's move on to the next topic. One crucial element that we still need to keep in the back of our minds is that Unique also has a son. he mentioned in episode 1 that he has a son Jerome, and he told Raquel that he doesn't have the same connection that Raquel has with her son Kanan. They'll never share this bond that Raquel has with her son because Jerome didn't come out of him, and I really would love history to repeat itself with Scrappy to play this slim type of role that Kanan played in Power, with him manipulating Tariq, Scrappy doing the same thing with unique son Jerome, because there is definitely a reason they've mentioned Jerome in the very first episode, just like D-Wiz's brother. Those are two characters who I do expect to see at some point during Raising Kanan, even if it's not in the first season. So let's move on and talk about Bruised, and whether Scrappy could return as Bruised, and I do get why a lot of people have commented this in my review and recap video, because of how Kanan returned as Slim, and a lot of people think that this is how we could see Bruised being born, and that's through Scrappy, when he returns, and using Bruised as a disguise. But I don't think so. I don't think Scrappy is Bruised. Honestly, for me, it would sound a bit weird that we've been calling this character Scrappy all season long, and then all of a sudden we change his name to Bruised. I do think we'll see him return and play a crucial role at the end of the season, but just as Scrappy, not Bruised. And the same goes for Symphony and Marvin too. I've seen the rumor floating about how people think Marvin is Bruised over the last 2 weeks, but if we were to go through seasons 1 and 2 for example, calling Kanan's uncle Marvin, it would then be very weird to me to then just start calling him Bruised all of a sudden. The only correlation to Bruised and Marvin is that they're both strong, but not smart, something we learned in season 3 episode 8, which Kanan told us, and I did reply to one of the comments asking whether I thought Marvin was Bruised, and I did say why would Kanan allow Ghost to kill his uncle without retaliating? Family doesn't necessarily make you blood, and we've seen Kanan killing his own son, but I just don't see how Marvin can be Bruised. And the same goes for Symphony, and how Kanan described Bruised as strong but not smart. You can safely rule out Symphony because he's one smart motherfucker. Kanan even mentioned in episode 6 that they can learn a thing or two from Symphony, and we've seen both of them adopt some things that Symphony has taught them to their drug business. I'm in two minds about whether I trust Symphony or not though, especially because we saw Raquel opening up to him. But this is a conversation and a topic that I'm going to dive deeper on later on this week, because I do want to stay on this topic of Bruised and who I think he is, because it's my prediction that I made a while ago at the beginning of the season, and that's D-Wiz's brother and how he could potentially be Bruised. I'm going to stick with my early prediction that I made because I do think it's someone who we've not seen, but someone who we've heard of, and that's D-Wiz's brother. D-Wiz said that his brother just got back from upstate, and he's someone who's always disappearing. Raquel described him as a wild boy, but both stopping just short of revealing his actual name. So this is a character who I do think we'll eventually see at some point, and he's the character who I think we could be introduced to at some point as Bruised. So there's my take on whether we could see Scrappy returning as Bruised. I don't think so. I don't think he's been hiding under plain sight with Symphony or Marvin either. I think he's going to be a new character that we'll be introduced to. But let me know what you guys think about this storyline with Scrappy, with him being alive, with him looking like he's returning for the final episode of Raising Kanan. Could we see him being Raquel's huge chess move, which Unique doesn't see coming? Could he work the angle of Jerome, who's Unique's son, the same way Kanan did in Power? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.